Hello, it's Renee Barabo, the Practical Shaman, here with the weekly Wind Spirit card pull. So my name's Renee Barabo, for those of you who don't know me. And every week we pull a wind from the wind sack and talk about it based on this book, Winds of Spirit. And so if you're here listening and you don't have the book, I really encourage you to get the book because I just talk about it, how it's applicable to you in your life. But truly, this is one of those resource books, like You Can Heal Your Life, and this was published by Hay House. I always thought that this was taking Louise Hay's work to the next place. When I said it, even when I said it, 10 years ago, I always kind of felt like that I would write a book that would then, take what we'd learned in the first 20 or 30 years of our awakening time period and really take it and expand it further. Truthfully, I had really, really, really no idea that the winds of spirit would come and start to speak to me, because for all of you people who are channelers out there, I used to kind of make jokes about, your channel's only as clear as your glass lens is. And maybe that was why I didn't get this information or get this download until well into my own personal healing journey, so that I could start to differentiate between what is this of my ego self and what is this actually being told to me from the wind. And I can start to tell the difference now. For example, this week, we've had some earthquakes in California, and the other night on my wind walk, I was told with no uncertain terms to make sure that my earthquake supplies and my survival supplies were key. But interestingly, I've been getting some propane and double checking the water and things like that for a while now. So maybe the difference is now that I'm in touch and in tune, I listen as well, and then I take action. So it's always a surprise. My nose always gets itchy when I turn on the camera. It's always so funny. That word so. Well, whatever. Well, we're here. Oh, one just hopped out of the car, got tired of waiting for me to go yatter on. All right. Wow. Okay. So the Cardinal Wind, we got a Cardinal Wind this week. And how the book is separated and divided is that it talks about why you even want a spiritual awakening, and it talks about my awakening and what I went through to recover in my life, and where I started to have these spontaneous awakenings and then shamanic dismemberment experiences and things like that. But then we get into the Cardinal Winds. And what are interesting about the Cardinal Winds is these have been the markers that have helped us structure our reality as human beings since, well, at least for sure we're clear of it since language was written down. We see it earlier in the stories that were passed along and then written down. And even if you go back all the way to the caves, the Lascaux cave in France and all the other caves, you'll see these sign markers where the universe was always divided into the four. And these cardinal winds were the energetics that held up this. And if you think about the cardinal winds, they're very personal as well as universal, because as a sailor knows, you can only navigate from your own wheelhouse. You can't be steering my ship and I can't be steering your ship. So when we look at these cardinal winds in relationship to our own experience, we look at them in terms of our own east, our own south, our own west. And as in this case, Boreas has come to us, and it's about our spiritual north. And this is about spirit, community, and support. Now, these are the cardinal winds are a little bit longer chapters, and it's a little bit more advanced work. And people always ask me, how do I know if I pull a wind of spirit? If I pull a wind of spirit, and by the way, there's 32 winds in the book. I have several decks in here because I give them away when I do teachings and talks. And hopefully, maybe you'd invite me to your town so you could hear about, do some wind work with your community. And if you're interested in that, just PM me. And I'm going to be going to the East Coast at the end of August, and hopefully I'm going to be able to do something in the Boston, Cape Cod area right on that last weekend of August, early September. So how do you know what wind you're traveling in? Well, let's just do a little simple experiment, okay? I invite you to close your eyes and take 3 deep wind breaths in, and I'll blow the wind whistle so you can actually get deeper into that experience. And on that first wind breath, feel yourself connecting deep into the chasm that's been created by these shakers all over the Pacific Northwest for sure, and into California. They're creating these chasms. So feel ourselves connecting down deep into that belly of the mother. And then on the second wind breath, call to Boreas, the north wind, or call to, you don't have to call to Boreas, but call to the cardinal winds to give you some insight. And then on the third one, just see yourself in the center on your own spin axis, which is this invisible strand that goes through the top of your head, comes out through the bottom, the center of your being, and connects you to the earth. And this spin axis, when we get to that one, see it spinning. And what we want to do is we want to see it spinning until we stop, okay? And when you get to stopping, you stop. And stay there. Just stay there and look at the surroundings in front of you when you stop spinning on your spin axis. And as you stop spinning, look around for the signposts and notice, are you traveling east, south, west, or north? And sometimes that could be a guiding star. It could be a body of water that you're familiar with. It could be going out your own front door, looking out your own front door or windows, knowing a direction that you're pointing in. It's really simple, because remember, if there's a spin axis and you're heading in a direction, then you can head in that direction, and it's changeable. I mean, you can change it on a dime. Like, for example, you could be in the morning when you wake up, you could be having an east experience of greeting the new day, and then by noon you could be having a south experience where you're working towards lunch and getting to the middle and the highlight of your day. And then as you wind down, you might be having a more Western type experience where things are coming to a close, you're physically tired. And then you might be having, as you go into dream time, you might be doing your evening meditations and experiencing inventorying your day. Did you get what done? How did you treat other people? And kind of go through that inventory of your own life. And so in the North, the North is about the spirit. And the North is about the spirit, the community buy-in, and support. I could open to the book, but there's a lot of reading in there about the North. And again, I'm going to encourage you to pick up this book. And I like the book as a reference, so I can just spin it open to a page. But if you want to get a Kindle, go right ahead. And then you'll find yourself buying a book later on anyway. But the North, well, I hope so. So the north is about the spirit, and it's about that. It's about being aligned to that spiritual pull that pulls you through your life, through this whole, all your different timelines, all of your different trajectories that you're in. And then the ones that you can pay closer attention to are those spiritual pulls. Like some of you are called to shamanism, some of you might be called to Reiki, some of you are called to church. Whatever that spiritual pull is, that's a really good indication of when you're feeling that tug that the north wind might be calling to you. The other really advantage of the north wind is that it will tell you when an idea is done. So think about in the fall, you put everything in your silo to store it up for the long winter ahead, and then you have this idea of this, whether or not there's a community buy-in, whether or not you've put in enough resources into your silo to get you through a cold winter. And so one time that I had a holistic healing center, and for years I was trying to drag it around. But what I wasn't getting was, I wasn't getting the wind of the north. I wasn't necessarily getting the community buy-in or the way that felt supportive to me. What does that mean when I say that didn't feel supportive to me? It means that I might have had to do more work, or that there was more to learn. However, we go into these periods of the north before we start a new adventure, when we're at the end of a cycle, there's a holding space. The north is about a lot of things, and it's also known as the wind that will come and take you when you're leaving this incarnation to move on. There's a story that I read in the mythology about the north wind, and this child that was sick would travel on the north wind to learn about the bigger, broader scope of this life as he knew it, which was coming to an end. So when you embrace the north wind, you embrace the uncertainty, you embrace that the trust that, the wind has your back. So do you really believe the wind has your back? And if you do, might just say, or if you're not quite sure and you're testing out the waters, I'm getting a lot of community buy-in for the upcoming internal windwork class that we have coming in, Windwork Basics, which is starting really soon. Hope maybe you'd think about joining us. We're gonna, in a very kind of overt way, we're gonna go through each of the cardinal directions in this class. That's the foundation of the wind mastery work, which is now ready. The more they say that, the more you understand, the more you understand something, the simpler you can explain it to others. So I'm getting really excited about teaching people the basics of wind work. And that means, how can you use the wind to navigate your way to the grocery store, or to work, or in your relationships, or to create more abundance in your life? That's all work that the wind can help you do, believe it or not. All right, well, this is the Cardinal Wind, and so it'll be interesting to see how we hold ourselves spiritually and in community over the next week, as this is the collective wind of spirit. And if you want the Wind Spirit cards, you can either order them on the website, or there's places, if you open any of the blogs, that you can get a copy for free. All right, my name's Renee Baribeau. I'm the Practical Shaman. And please, reciprocity is key to the north. So my request for my reciprocity is that you order the book. If you're in the Wind Clan, or if you're in the Practical Shaman, or you're at the Shaman's Cave, support our work. This takes a lot of energy to put out to you, and it would be really nice when the wind meets us back, that we know we're truly riding that north wind. All right, have an awesome day, and I hope you're having a wonderful weekend.